This video is brought to you by the Farmer Klein YouTube channel. Be sure to like, subscribe, and comment.
Hello everybody, welcome back to another Farming Simulator 22 map first impressions video. Today we're going to take a look at the Matopiba map. But before that, this video is brought to you by Robert L. and MacFlies. Thank you for being farm barons. So the Matopiba map can be found over at the farmingsimulator.com website or the in-game downloadable content menu. And as of the 1.0 release, this map is available for PC only. Now, this is a 4X map. It doesn't say so in the description, but it is very obvious once you get in and start moving around that this map is much, much larger than a standard size map. And that is quite possibly why we are seeing this map being available for PC and Mac only, as we have yet to see a 4X map make its way onto console for Farming Simulator 22. Let's go ahead and read a little bit of the description. This map has 2 grain sell points, a lumber yard for the sale of logs and wood chips. The BGA is available on the map, and we have 3 points to grab water. There is a main farm where you should be able to build out a substantial custom farm. There is sale of potatoes, beets, milk, and eggs at the market. Sale of milk will be done also at the Supreme Milk sell point. There is a limestone mine where you can go and collect lime as well as sell stones. Restaurant and fair where you can sell products from the factories, eggs, and milk. And there is a sugarcane mill where you can sell sugarcane and beets. Let's go ahead and load on in. We are going to go ahead and use the mods that we typically use when we take a look at these maps. They are additional field info, additional game settings, field lease, field calculator, and precision farming. And we'll say if you load this map up in farm manager mode or start from scratch, you do not own any land at the start, although you do have machinery, and the main farm is built out exactly how you're going to see it here in new farmer mode. Also, if you play this farm or this map with precision farming, this map does make use of the French soil map, which is also the same as the generic soil map. And when we load into the map here, we start out at the main town area, which is a fair bit removed from the main farm. Let's go ahead and take a look at the map itself. And if we take a look at our lands area, you will see that we start out by owning Field 3, which is this massive, absolutely massive bit of land. In fact, this is 297 acres in size. Field 3 by itself is simply 3.66 hectares, but the buyable land here is 300 or nearly 300 acres in size, $3.6 million. So really the only starting mode that you can have without cheating some money in is going to be new farmer mode. Now, as I said, this is a 4X map, so all of these fields are much, much larger than they appear. In fact, we're going to see very soon how big the average field size really is. We do have the ability to buy pretty much all the areas of the map, including the town. We have quite a windy, very risky road area here that we could also buy. The timber area is down here to the south. That can be bought for $160,000. And the biogas plant is going to be located, trying to recall where the biogas plant is at the moment, right here for $213,000. Let's go ahead and take a look at our farmland lease screen. And this is going to show us all of the available farm lands that we could buy, if there are any fields on those farmlands, also what fields they are, and how big each farmland is in hectares. And you can see that we have quite the varied farmland sizes. We've got farmlands from 6.66 hectares all the way up to a couple hundred hectares in size, and quite a varied array of field prices from a couple $100,000 all the way up to over $4 million. We take a look at our field calculator screen. You can see how big each given field is, and then basically we can cross-reference this with respect to the farmland lease screen to then figure out which farmland we need to buy and how much that farmland is going to cost us. Let's go ahead and take a look and see how the French soil map is overlaid here on the fields. And as you can see, a fair bit of the land is loamy sand, sandy loam, and loam. A little bit of silty clay on fields 6 and 5. And then fields 18, 19, 20, 28, 22, 24, and 23 have a decent amount of silty clay as well. We take a look at our crop counter. You can see we do have the generic crop counter available to us here in this particular map. And if we look at our prices screen, you will see that we do indeed have the ability to sell all of the base game crops that we can sell in Farm Sim 22. We also have the ability to sell our animal outputs and silage, hay, straw, and grass. Now, when it comes down here to our production items, we have the ability to sell most of the production items, but you will notice I did say most and not all. And that is because for whatever reason, we do not have the ability to sell planks. We do have a sawmill on the map that will produce planks, but we do not have the ability to sell planks. We do have the ability to sell furniture, though, so I think maybe possibly the map author is setting it up to encourage us to put down a carpentry facility in order for us to further refine the planks that we're going to make in our sawmill into furniture. But again, I would like to have seen us have the ability to sell planks nonetheless. We do have the ability to get bulk lime, as I said, down at the lime pit. And then we do have a stone crusher on the map, so we do have the ability to get rid of stones. We do have a modest list of starting equipment. In fact, we have a bonus that we will be demonstrating here in a little bit. We do not have any animals at the start. We do have contracts available, and there are no production chains owned at the start of the map. Now, let's go ahead and, before we get to the farm tour, I want to show you the bonus that I am talking about, and that is because down here at the vehicle shop, well, there happens to be a harvester here on display, and I really like how this is set up. All right, so we got a couple rows of corn here. We got the harvester. Well, note what this says. This says the case is owned by us. We own this harvester, everybody. We can get in it. We can drive it. We can steal it. It's ours. Now, if you can get it back to your farm, well, then I guess you can use it. But yeah, look at that. Let's go, people. Let's break out of this joint. Now, what's interesting is... We'll just park this here. We'll have a little fun. What's interesting is if we tab over to the main farm, and we come over here, you see we have another harvester already at the farm. Right? And this one's ours also. Let's go ahead and take a look at our starting equipment. So while we start with the ability to drive 2 harvesters, there's only 1 harvester actually owned. So the harvester that's at the shop is kind of set up. We can drive it, but we can't actually sell it, I believe. It's kind of an interesting setup. I would have expected to see 2 harvesters listed here, but we only have 1, but we clearly have the ability to drive both. So we have the Massey Ferguson 6718S medium tractor and the Kloss Axia 920 large tractor. We have, again, as I said, the Axle Flow 7150 harvester. We technically have a pair of those. And we have the 3020 Terraflex 25-foot grain header at the harvester down at the shop that we can steal. We have a large corn header. We also have the Amazon 44,000 super cultivator. And then we have the John Deere 1775 NT planter. And then to round out our starting equipment, we have the Breedall K105 fertilizer and lime spreader. And basically, you are looking at the main farm right here. So the main farm includes 2 sheds and our starting equipment. If we sell the sheds, the decorative items underneath the sheds also vanish. So we do have the ability to completely eliminate the buildings that are here on the starting area. And as such, we have full customization of the main farm. Now let's go ahead and get set up for the fly around, and I want to show you how big this starting area really is. I mean, this is almost 2/3 of a base map itself. Get a little bit of altitude, and you can see that we start out here with a little bit of a cotton field. That is where our cultivator is set up. And once again, if we come up here to our lands area, see we can go this direction a little bit. So right about here. Sorry, we need to cut back close to where the red is. So our property line is approximately here. And if we go due north and rotate to 270. Everything you see up to the cliff edge is land that you own at the start. So you could customize and carve out a massive field or multiple fields because you own all of this land all the way to the cliff edge, which we are going to slowly make our way towards. Because again, this is a 4X map. How can we tell this is a 4X map? Well, we simply look at the coordinates down in the map. And you can see we are at 2400 by 410. A standard map would be 2048, would be the largest coordinate that we could get. And we can get all the way up into the 4000. So we have a 4X map here. And this is the cliff edge. So we have all of that land available to us at the start to do whatever we want. And that is pretty cool because we don't have a lot of predefined fields, but we do have a massive area where we can just kind of go to town on. So with that, let's go ahead and kind of make a bend and turn down here towards one of the sell points. We'll swing around the lower edge of the map, and then we'll make our way back up here to the town. That's where our vehicle shop is going to be. Like I said, we have massive fields here because, again, this is a 4X map. So all of these fields are much larger than they are going to appear just by looking at the PDA. In fact, field 7 here is 40 acres in size alone. It's one of the smaller fields on the map. Here we have the sugarcane and beet sell point. The map is overall fairly flat, so you shouldn't need super high horsepower in order to drive around and do your field work. So that is one benefit. Given the high prices of the land, you are going to want to save a little bit of money somewhere. But again, with the starting area, you're going to be able to really probably make a fair bit of money just in the starting land before you really need to expand. And areas 1 and 2 are also kind of set up in no man's land-esque type gameplay, where you have the ability to carve out your own fields and kind of make your own area up there. And that, as I said, is really between 1, 2, and 3. You're probably talking about 3/4 of a standard size map just up there in that corner alone. So here we have the sawmill. Again, we do have the ability to make planks, but for whatever reason, we do not have the ability to sell the planks. As far as base game production, we have built into the map a biogas plant, which is below here, as well as the sawmill, and those are the only production items built into the map. But given the size of Area 3, I would say that you have more than ample space to kind of customize and place additional production. So here we have the lime mine, as well as our stone crusher. As I said, we do have the ability to sell all of the base game crops that we can grow on the map. We do have the ability to sell all the animal outputs. We do have the ability to sell most of, but not quite all of the production items. So we will be giving the map just 3/4 of a point with respect to having the ability to sell all base game production, animal outputs, and crops that we can grow. So over here we have a bale sell point. Then we have a grain sell point. Located right there. And then we will cruise on across the map and make our way up to the town area where we'll do the rest of our fly around. So we cut across a little bit of the land here, and I wanted to bring you back because this is where it gets really, really cool. So we've got this road that's down, kind of cutting down into the valley. Cut across this really cool waterfall. We continue to make our way down into the valley, into town. We have our fuel station. The only fuel station on the map is located right here, so you definitely want to invest in placeable fuel at the main farm because it is a fair bit of a drive all the way back. We have our animal dealer located right here with static cows, sadly, here in the area. We have our workshop across the street from our dealer. I tell you, this area would be pretty cool to also possibly put some production in. With another workshop trigger located around back. Another grain sell point here in town. Then we have our milk sell point, and then we have a restaurant sell point there. Let's go ahead and make our way back here to the shop. We'll get our Mahindra and then do a little bit of a drive around. So here at the main shop, we have our dealer trigger, and the dealer trigger is where we're going to be able to repaint our vehicles as well as repair them. And then, like I said, across the street, we have a workshop trigger. It's also set up as a dealer trigger. And then I want to check the Valtra trigger real fast to see how it's set up. The Valtra trigger is also a dealer trigger, which is quite interesting. So we not only have one, we not only have two, but we have 3 dealer triggers here. And I have to say, this might be the first map where we have seen multiple dealer triggers. When we buy our equipment, our vehicles spawn around back, and we do have a fairly large area then for our vehicles to spawn in at. So given the size of the fields, right, we're going to be buying fairly large machinery. We want to have plenty of area here for that machinery to spawn in at. Now, with respect to buildings and textures using the new texturing technique, we do have this brown texture here that is clearly using the new technique, which is nice to see. But overall, most of the buildings are not using the new texture technique. So we are going to give the map just a quarter of a point with respect to buildings and ground using the new texturing technique. Now, overall, does it really impact the playability of the map? Probably not. That's up for you as the player to decide upon. It is simply a scoring metric that we use with respect to judging how a map is with respect to the Farm Sim 22 features. So here we have our animal dealer. Again, we do not own any animals pins at the start, so we do not have the ability to buy any animals at the start. And one of our sell points. Can we sneak around here? The added benefit of buying a little Mahindra is getting through areas we should not be in. We have our fuel station on our right. Our milk sell point is located right here. And this is where we spawned in at, here in front of the church. With our restaurant still point. One of our large grain industrial sell point complexes. Here we have a log sell point. Let's just sneak over here. So typical to South American map sell points, these large industrial sell points always seem to be under these kind of sheds here. And then we need to make our way up the windy road over to the next sell point, which is a little bit set up like a farmer's market. There is an area also over here to the side you could buy and put down building should you so wish. So with respect to the map having production and areas set aside for the placement of such, you're going to give the map a full point because we do have the area that I just pointed out back there, as well as the massive area for our main starting land. So we can put nearly an entire map worth of stuff just on our starting land area, land plot number 3. Be pretty careful driving up here. You don't want to drive off the cliff. Here we have a sell point. This map does have collectibles. This map is using the Erlengrot collectible system, so there are just 10 collectibles scattered around the map. And now we've made our way up kind of out of the valley. Again, all of this land over here at the flat to the left is going to be our starting land. We have a massive area where we can build out, carve up our own fields, and do whatever we want with. Make our money and then expand into the pre-established, agricultural heart of the map. All of that, for the most part, is up for us to do whatever we want with. The next stop is going to be way, way over there. With respect to summarizing our score while we're on our way, with respect to the map, again, having the ability to sell all our base game products, crops, and animal outputs, we're going to give the map 3/4 of a point because we are missing the ability to sell planks at the start. I would like to see the ability to sell planks. We do have a sawmill on the map, so we can produce planks. Of course, it seems that possibly we are being encouraged to put down a carpentry facility, possibly at that blank building lot in town, or just out of town, for the production of furniture, which we can indeed sell. But I would like to have just seen us have the ability to sell planks at the start. So we are going to knock the map off 1/4 of a point there. We're also knocking off 3/4 of a point with respect to the fact that the buildings overall are not using the new texturing technique. The textures don't look really bad with respect to those buildings, but they are not using the new texture technique. We do have some ground textures, some custom ground textures that are using that new technique though. I do like this sell point because we've got the name of the sell point, the name of the map, kind of written here in flowers. This is the large industrial sugar processing facility for sugarcane and beets. We have our dump station right here. We're going to need to side dump. As I said, one of the ways that we know that this is a 4X map is if we look at our coordinate system down in the mini-map. So a standard size map in the lower southeast corner, the extreme southeast corner, the coordinates would be approximately 2048 by 2048 because each little square on the map is 1 kilometer or is 1 meter. And the map overall is 2 kilometers by 2 kilometers square. So 2048 by 2048. This map, on the other hand, as you can see, our coordinates right now, we are at 1167 by 26 and climbing. 2700 and climbing. So we are well beyond the 2048. And when we get down here to the extreme southwest of the map, we are going to see that we are going to be well below or well past that 2048 mark. here. A little rough land. Let's go over here and check out the sawmill, as well as the biogas plant. Oh, look at this traffic. I can't tell you I can't tell you if I've ever seen a semi running down the road like that. We saw a little bit of traffic in town, but we hadn't seen any traffic since then. Given the fact that we were on dirt, I wasn't really going to be expecting to see too much traffic. So here we are at the sawmill. So we have our dump point for our logs. We have our log cell trigger. We have our interactive icon. And then around back, we have our pallet spawn point for our planks. We will need to, again, put down a carpentry facility if we are going to make use of the sawmill as an owned production, because we do not have the ability to sell planks, or we'll have to put down our own sell point to allow us to sell those planks. Let's make our way over here to the biogas plant. Triggers are not showing up for the biogas plant because we need to own the land first. Once we buy the land, we will have our biogas plant triggers pop up. So we have our scale to our right. We have 2 pull-through bunkers. Then we have the biogas plant right here. So we have our digester. We have our dump point for our slurry and our pickup point for our digestate. Again, the triggers will show up once we buy the facility. Now let's make our way to the absolutely fabulous lime mine. What we saw in Farm Sim 19 was the open mine was kind of the staple of South American maps. And I'm glad to see that we've got it back here once again. It takes a fair bit of artistry, in my opinion, to really make these mines look well. There we go. We wind our way down. Down here, this is where we were also going to find our stone crusher. So if you do play with stones enabled, well, with the size of these fields and the fact that it's a 4X map, you're going to have quite the task in cleaning up your stones. We here have our lime buy point, and then our stone crusher is located right there. And now we need to make our way back up out of the mine. Again, I think the map author has done a really good job here with respect to kind of carving this out using the landscaping functionality of the editor, which isn't necessarily always the easiest thing to do. As we make our way over to the final 2 areas of interest, I'm going to say that overall, I think the triggers are clearly marked on this map. So we are going to go ahead and give the map a 4 out of 5. While we did take a quarter of a point off with respect to not having the ability to sell planks, and we did take 3/4 of a point off with respect to the buildings and the textures, the map has scored very well in the other categories, and as a result is still scoring a very respectable 4 out of 5. Let me know, guys, what you think down in the comments below of the Matopiba map. Again, this is a 4X South America map. It is available for PC players only over at the farmingsimulator.com website, or the in-game downloadable content menu linked down in the description below. So there we've got that semi once again. Come in here to a scale. We have our bale sell point. Then our final grain sell point. It's going to be located right here. And it looks like we can make our way back over to the main farm with this diagonal road. So guys, once again, let me know down in the comments below, what do you think of the map? What do you think of South American maps in general? And what are your thoughts on the open lime pits that we seem to find quite a bit on these South American maps? And until next time, happy farming.